Moving on to our other college football games. Coach, your Washington Huskies have been looking really suspect lately. They're going to take on USC. The problem is when you talk about Washington's looked pretty suspect. USC has not played very good football for three
They,
straight weeks. So it's a matter of, do they have the motivation moving forward? Is Washington going to finally come out and play football like they know how? So I don't even know which way to go in this game because of the way that both of these teams have played.
I think USC right now, he's looking for just to be the spoiler right now. Especially they lost those two ball games. They're looking to be the spoiler. Washington is a good football team. I picked them very early in the year as a possible top four team. But really looking at them against Oregon again, if they played again, I would definitely go with Oregon because I think Oregon is a team that needs to be in that top four. That's what I hate about this top four thing. It should expand this thing right away because that could be a good football team. Anyway, I do look for. You got to watch this ball game. It's only a 3-point favorite. I mean, Washington only 3-point favorite. They're playing at USC, so this could be a salvation game for USC, a game that they have to win. But their defense is very, very suspect, and they can't stop a hard marching band.
USC nearly dropped 3 in a row just a week ago. Washington kind of playing another tight ball game. I still like Washington in this game to go on the road. I feel like USC's motivation is completely zapped, and it seems like Caleb Williams has one foot out the door. Coach Riley has his work cut out for him. So I feel like you're going to lose that locker room if you lose this ball game, and I just don't know if he'll be able to hang on. In our next game, we have Missouri taking on Georgia. Georgia is a double-digit favorite in this one. Do you think that's a lot of reliance on the hype, or do you think that Georgia does come away with a big victory against Missouri at home?
It's a 17-point favorite. I think Georgia's kind of playing around with them right now. They're number one. Missouri's ranked at 14th, but I think that's a kind of a accelerated. To me, 14th in my mind. I don't know if Missouri's that good. The people that they've played has been a little bit suspect in their schedule, but Georgia's the real deal. They always come up with a quarterback that just can manage the game. Not a great athlete, but a guy that can manage the game. Their offensive scheme is good. They can mix and match. They can run the football. They can throw the short pass. They can throw deep. They got playmakers all over the field. Real good on special team, and their defense is solid. So they got so many guys on that team that are just the 5-star guys. It's unbelievable, even without the tight end Bowers. But I still think that Missouri can give them problems, but not for long. I think they'll play with them for a half, but I think see Georgia pulling away in the second half. And that's going to come down. I think LSU's not going to have. Georgia will not have much competition until later on in the season. They just whizzed by Florida. I thought Florida was going to put more of a fight, but they certainly didn't. And right now, they deserve to be number one.
Is there a team in the country that can beat Georgia right now?
I think the teams in the country, again, if I had to pick right now, would be Oregon, but they might not make it. I think Oregon or Washington would give them trouble. I think the Pac-12 teams are really, really good, but they're not going to make it because they're beating one another. But Michigan, Ohio State winner. You're looking at Michigan and where they are. Ohio State is just struggling. They're winning, but they're barely getting by their opponents. Not the Ohio State of whole, but I don't see that taking place right now. It looks like the way it is right now, unless something strange happens in their championship games in their conferences, that could change things. But to me, right now, the best football team in the country that can do it all is Oregon. And they had one hiccup against Washington on the road when they missed that field goal to tie it at the end. But I think they're the best football team in the country.
Coach, I'm kind of on the opposite end of this. I think if Oregon, I think there's been so many years in the past we've seen the Pac-12 kind of get left out. I think if you win the Pac-12 this year and you only have one loss, you're in. And I think, or as you mentioned, Oregon right now is in that position, but we'll see. They might need a little bit of help with Washington, but it's going to come down to the wire for sure. But in our last matchup, we're going to talk about is Kansas State at Texas. What do you see in this matchup?
Well, Kansas State just got into the top 25. Just got into it. Texas, 6.5-point favorite there, and that's I can see Texas really running away with this ball game. Really, they probably have some of the best talent in the whole country. I'm talking about the University of Texas. I know they play with their backup quarterback, but he's no slouch either. And but their defense is really, really good. I think Sarkisian is an excellent coach, an excellent offensive mind, and I don't think Kansas State would have the players to play with them. So I look for Texas to actually win this game and win it easily.
Coach, I know we've talked a lot about the negative impacts and implications of NIL and transfer portal, but I will say, I don't know about you, but this year feels like the most level the playing field has been in quite some time. I don't know if that's just the nature of it's just one of those years where that's the way things play out, or it's the nature of NIL and the transfer portal. But would you agree that this feels like the most level playing field we've seen in quite
Remember,
some time?
yeah, and I think the reason for it is a good point. Is the reason for it, you get 85 scholarships, and as a coach and a recruiter, sometimes those guys don't work out. I mean, there are a couple of guys on the LSU staff came in at 5-star guys, but right now their star isn't shining very bright. It's going out. In fact, so and so you don't know whatever you get because you don't know the intangible. That intangible is what's inside the gut. What kind of work ethic does he have? Is he really a player? On film, he looked great. But when he's here, does he mesh with the rest of the team? Is he physical, or is it? Or even the NFL makes mistakes, and they don't have any restrictions on how they can recruit a guy or evaluate a guy. Colleges do. So my point being is that okay, I got a guy that ends up being a bust, but now I can use the transfer portal to fill in that spot. So I don't have any weak spots anymore. You know what I mean? My 85 are making them work now. That's why you don't hear much about walk-ons anymore because the transfer portal is taking that place of a walk-on that can be that, even though you're still allowed to have them, and some people make up, but you're able, everybody with that 85 scholarship is kind of on the level playing field now. And I think that you can see that with the transfer portal, it gives you 85 solid guys. When I was at Tulane, and you're supposed to be at 85 before the season starts, we were never at the maximum. We were always at 80 scholarship or 70-something scholarship. But now in the portal, you can be at your maximum all the time.